Well, it's only fitting that the man behind the mic for the last game of his career gets to throw out the first pitch of that game. Joe Castiglione throwing it to Jackie Bradley Jr. As he said, JBJ catches everything. So I'm having him behind the plate. A perfect strike as far as we could see, Joe, as he hangs up the microphone. The Red Sox Hall of Famer, Ford C. Frick Award winner in the National Baseball Hall of Fame, and soundtrack to countless summers in New England, Joe Castiglione has officially called his last game as the voice of the Red Sox on radio. Although, as he said, Roger Clemens unretired 3 times, so watch out. Welcome, everybody. It's WB Mason Extra Innings Live. Who but WB Mason business delivery since 1898? Nobody does it better. Tom Caron, Lenny DiNardo, Will Middlebrooks. Welcome to the offseason, everyone. Now the work can begin.
Yeah, and there's a few things they need to do, right? You know, I mean, there's points in this season where they were playing really good baseball, but there are also points that they can look back on and say, these are things we need to clean up. For me, defense. Yeah. If you're going to help your pitching staff out, if you want to have an A-plus pitching staff, you got to go out there and have at least an average defense, and they were way, way below that.
And I think a lot of that, Lenny, came from youth, right? There's a lot of young players out there trying to solidify themselves as big leaguers. You have multiple players moving around the field, which flexibility and versatility is great. Alex Cora loves that, where you can, when he has to make his lineup card every day. But I think finding some guys to add into this lineup, into this roster, so the Rafaelas can play in one spot. The versatility is great, but you put them in center field all the time, your outfield's better. So looking forward to the offseason. I think there's some things that we can look forward to.
I thought you were going to say a lot of that goes to April 5th. That's when Trevor Story got hurt. Because the defense, remember, came out of the gate like with confidence. And you're like, hey now. And remember, for 2 weeks after he got hurt, there were a couple of 3-error games in there right away.
It was within the game he got hurt.
The whole team lost its defensive confidence the day he went down.
And it wasn't the outfield.
No, the outfield was actually one of the best in baseball.
Yes. So you're specifically looking at the infield positions, not being able to catch it and throw it consistently, making not only the routine plays, but we've seen the impact that Trevor Story can make on that ball up the middle, not just getting to it, but making the throw, making it look athletic. It's a difficult play if you're not Trevor Story, and that was evident throughout this whole season.
And even as a third baseman, knowing you're playing next to a shortstop who has tremendous range, you're more focused in a tighter area and you're cleaner because you're not worried about getting to everything. And he took a lot of pressure off of guys who were playing third base, obviously Rafi Devers being the main one.
The 3 biggest stories, no pun intended, a little pun intended, around this team and why things went. With Trevor Story, that killed the defense. Casas out for 4 months, absolutely hurt the offense. And Rafael Devers putting in a really good season despite playing with 1, if not 2, bad shoulders. Those 3 things were just too much for this team to overcome.
Yeah. I mean, he was dealing with something from the get-go, it seemed like, whether it was the knee, the shoulder. He had that collision earlier in the year. And this offense goes where Rafael Devers goes. And there's certain guys that stepped up this year, Duran being one of them. But without Rafael Devers in this lineup, and like you said, Casas in the middle of that order, it's just a shorter lineup. You need a longer lineup to help, to get these pitchers on their heels and to get them out of the game sooner than later.
And when you're pitching and Rafael Devers is in the lineup, if you have to circle a guy in the lineup, right, you're like, I can't let this guy beat me. Well, that means you have to pitch to Tyler O'Neill. You have to pitch to Jarren Duran, Wilyer Abreu, whoever's hot at the time, Yoshida, whoever it may be. You take Rafael out of that mix, it's like, yes, Duran's good, but he's going to lead off. But I get to the middle of the order, those RBI guys, I can pitch to any of those guys because Devers isn't there.
How many games, and I don't have the answer, we'd have to look it up. I'm guessing it's 20, give or take. Did they have Story, Rafi Devers, Tristan Casas, and Tyler O'Neill in the lineup? That's your engine room, right? Yes. That's your power. I bet you 20, 25 games at most, all 4 of those guys played.
Yeah.
And if you're a pitcher, a starting pitcher on the other side, and any of those guys are out the lineup, multiple guys out the lineup, you're pulling one of these.
Hey, take a deep breath.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good to go.
All right, today was about getting a win, finishing 500 for whatever that is worth. Dropping a spot in the draft pick. That's the bad news. We always got to have the glass half empty here, so the Rays will pick before the Red Sox in the draft next year. But you got a glimpse of Quinn Priester, and it was a pretty exciting glimpse. We talked about this in the pregame show. The most interesting interesting stat to me today. His last major league start with Pittsburgh, he threw 12% sinkers. Today, he threw 29% sinkers, and he threw them with an average of 93.6 miles an hour.
That's just the Red Sox saying, listen, if you go out and throw these pitches in this zone and these counts, you are probably going to be more effective. It's all about getting the most out of what you have. That's the Andrew Bailey effect. We've seen it throughout the season, whether it's a two-seamer, whether it's a sweeper. We feel like this is how you're going to be most successful out there. And he does have a good fastball. We saw it up to 96, 97 today, so that plays up at the top of the zone as well.
Yeah, well, it's not just whatever pitcher's better, right? Well, I mean, it's what we talked about in the pregame show as they have made his sinker better. He's our superstar of the game. That sinker is going to play better at 93.6 than it was at 91.7.
100%, and it allows him to be more aggressive in the zone because I'm going to be more confident in my stuff when I can look up at the board and I'm not seeing 91, 92. I'm seeing 93 to 96. I feel like, okay, I can challenge guys, and I'm not going to nibble, and you're not going to walk in, what, one walk? He pounded the zone. They preach that. I like this stuff.
And we talk about the big boppers in the lineup with that one swing changing the game. If you have 96, guess what? You're able to get out of jams that much easier because you have that little sweeper. But listen, I got 96, 97 behind it too.
Yeah.
I'm going to go right after you because I'm confident with that pitch.
You're the pitching instructor. What do you give him for a grade today?
I thought he did an excellent job. I feel like him leaving this season saying, I pitched in the big leagues for the Red Sox, right, going into next spring is going to give him just that vote of confidence, and it's going to give the Red Sox a vote of confidence in him saying, listen, you showed us something this day. You didn't go out there and just strike everybody out, but you pitched out of some jams.
Well, what's the grade?
I'm going to say I gave him a B today.
All right. Nothing wrong with that.
I mean, 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 walk.
Yeah.
I like it.
On a day that, listen, it was a relatively meaningless game, though you hate to say it. So when it was all said and done, what did he throw? 89 pitches. Middle of the season, you probably back out for one more inning. I thought it was a good debut, no doubt about that, and something to build on, as you said, Lenny, going into next season. Red Sox win this one by the final of 3-1. If you're going to get one last walk-off of the year, who are you going to ask? Tristan Casas. I mean, there's no doubt.
If you want just
how much time
something notable,
you want to
how
hear
much time do we
something?
have?
Jemai Webster knows exactly what he's doing. He got Tristan Casas after the game.
All right, thank you very much. Well, Tristan, 3-1 final in game 162. How nice is it to end the year with the victory like this on a high note?
Very nice, very nice. Things didn't turn out this season how we expected them to, but to come out on a strong note and come out here and finish with a win felt great. Quinn did a really good job controlling the game. I was glad to see him out here on the mound. I had played with him in AAA. Vaughn finally swinging the bat like he knows he can, and the bullpen came in and did their thing. So yeah, it was a good overall game, and yeah, I'm glad to end on a win.
Puts a bow on the year as well. How would you describe the 2024 Red Sox?
Hey, it's been a whirlwind of emotions. A battle-tested year for sure. It was a grind all the way through, but there was no quit. There was never say die all the way to the last series in Toronto where, we were in that contention. Those last 4 games, we needed to win them. We believed all the way to the last game. AC instilled that belief in us. All of us were holding each other accountable every single day to come out here, give the best version of ourselves, and, even though we're going to, even though it didn't turn out how we wanted to, we're going to come back next year and be better as a consequence of it. And it was a big learning experience this year, for sure. A lot of guys made a lot of strides, and I'm really proud of this group, and, a lot of people should be.
What about your year? You missed a significant portion of the year, obviously, with injury, but you got hot the last few weeks here late.
Yeah, it was emotional going into the box that last time. Wasn't sure how this year was going to play out. Wasn't sure how much I was going to be able to contribute, but finally feeling healthy again. Felt great, and yeah, it felt good to get a little hot stretch there, going too little, too late. But it's a lot to work on in the off season. Good to build off, and going to come back better next year.
Along those lines, as you close this chapter, another big league season in the books for you, what would be your plans to come back bigger, better, and stronger for next year?
We need a postseason berth next year. I mean, it's been a couple years, and the city's hungry for it. We are as players. I know the fans are. So that's going to be my motivation every single day, waking up in the off season. Those empty warehouses, those early mornings. That's what's going to be on my mind. It's going to be this city and then bring a championship back to it. I think we have the group to do it. We just got to stay healthy, stay positive, and we're going to be just fine.
Tristan, this year's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for your access, your insight into the game. Certainly appreciate it, man. Look forward to a big year next year for sure.
Thank you, Jemai. I appreciate it.
Wasabi Hut Take is brought to you by Wasabi Hut Cloud Storage, proud partner of the Boston Red Sox. Mickey Gasper had chances today, but did not get his first major league hit. We were all waiting for it and sort of cheering him on. Got to give him credit here in his second at-bat of the game. He worked his way back from an 0-2 count, took a walk. Don't take a walk. That's putting the team first. We want you to put yourself first.
Was left. I mean, they honestly.
And it was his third at bat. He got a 3-0 pitch.
Right. That
was right there. Obviously, he took it, but hits this hard just right at the shortstop.
Yeah, he's a big leaguer, a member of the Boston Red Sox, and whatever he did or didn't do over the few plate appearances won't change that. So congratulations to Mickey Gasper for making it to the show this year and being a big part of this Red Sox team. We're going to take a break. First, our display of power. Brought to you by the Chevy Silverado. Experience one today at your local New England Chevy dealer. Nice moment when the video tribute of Joe Castiglione came up on the board at Fenway Park. And the players came out and saluted him from the field. Our display of power brought to you by the dependable Chevy Silverado. Hear from Alex Cora next. 5-game under 500 record at Fenway, winning just 38 games. Better on the road. Ultimately, they did finish with a +4 run differential. I know we were very concerned about that, so don't worry about that. They were not the same number of runs scored as the same number of runs given up, although they were very close. Let's hear from Alex Cora after the game.
Good stuff. Through strikes. We played good defense behind him, turned a few double plays, kept the ball on the ground, so it was good for him to go out there and compete.
You said a few times down the stretch, we're a 500 team playing like that. What is it, just to finish 81 and 81?
I mean, in the room, a lot of disappointment. I still believe we had a chance to make it to the playoffs, and then we didn't play well towards the end, and that's the reason we're going home. As an organization, we'll talk about it tomorrow, but I think we took a step forward where we were last year, and there were a lot of good things that happened this year. I think as far as like structure and the vision, we're getting there. We are, I mean, there's no moral victories in the season, all that, whatever, but I think we actually did. We took a step forward. We're in a position player-wise, we're in a good spot, and the pitching is getting better. We still got work to do, but, I feel, like I said before the game, much better, going home, knowing what might happen in the offseason and where we're going next year.
There's a report during the game that Yoshida might be having.
They're gonna check his shoulder. There's a few guys that they're banged up, right? And they're gonna get their physicals, and I think he's scheduled to get an MRI. I want to say Tuesday, and then we'll go from there. But that's not the reason he was only a DH. Coming into the season, we knew that the rotation. The first game of the season, Willie wasn't playing. It was O'Neill, Rafaela, Duran, and we had the other guys, and I think we accomplished a lot of things playing those guys in the outfield. Our defense was better. As a DH.
You know what happened? How did his shoulder?
It's been going on through the season, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Even if it's just one game in the grand scheme of things, how important was it to finish the season with a win instead of avoid a losing record?
Yeah, all depends how you see it, right? For us, winning, you saw it. It's 30,000 people screaming at the end, regardless of the season that we had, and we owe it to our fans, It's just a special place, a place that they show up and, they cheer for us, and we did everything possible to win every game in the season. We did, and today was good for them. It was good for the group. It's always good to finish on a positive note, and now we just turn the page, be ready for the offseason.
Alex, despite it being a long season for you guys, is there an emptiness when this comes to an end? Just kind of a strange emptiness from the season?
Right now, not really, but in the upcoming days, probably. You reflect on what happened during the season, what happened in the second part of the season, and it's going to hit us hard, to be honest with you. Obviously, not the way we saw it coming, but it's the reality. We didn't play good baseball at the end, and that's the reason we're going home.
Obviously, you guys as a team acknowledged Joe there after the seventh, I believe. What was that moment like for you?
It's great. Just look up and, I mean, he means a lot to all of us, you know, and he's touched our lives and in every sense, you know, the respect he's shown me since I was a player here, like I said before the game, is unreal. The conversations before the interview and after the interview, those are pretty cool, right? Although, you know, he was always pushing the envelope to get more. But, you know, love the guy. Everybody here does, right? And what he means, not only for the players, the organization, but you saw the reaction of the fans, man. That was special. That was special. And, you know, the ceremony was outstanding. They kill it again. They do an outstanding job doing stuff like that, led by Sarah. And the people that showed up were great. Jackie here, you know, to catch the first pitch was outstanding, a great touch. And we're very proud of you, man. Yeah.
Thank you. That was a big surprise in the seventh inning.
Enjoy retirement, and we'll see you around. Don't be a stranger. We're good? Thank you. It's all yours. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Joe Castiglione sitting down to talk to the media now after Alex Cora ushers him up to the stage. Red Sox win the final game of 2024. They finish at 500. We continue after this.
The first guy settled in.
All the work that you put in Worcester, what did I guess kind of bring into today?
Yeah, just let me go out there and play the game again. You know, not thinking. Don't have to go out there and think to try and make things better. Just go out there, do what I do well, and you know, we did it well today, and just continue to build on it, keep getting better as we go into the off season.
Just take them out at Fenway Park.
Sick, like awesome. I got out a little bit earlier than I normally do for, you know, the routine, just to kind of take it in, because it's such an iconic place. It's a place you dream about growing up playing. You know, you imagine it, and being able to actually do it today and walk away with a win and, you know, come out above 500. Just really encouraging stuff going into the off season. So it was really special to get my first start in such a special place, and it was awesome. Yeah, thinking about having good ones in the big leagues is a lot more fun than thinking about good ones in the minors. So being able to take this into the offseason, you know, as a big leaguer is showing that the work that we've put in results in really good, you know, results at the big league level. And this is kind of just the start. There's a ton of optimism going into this offseason to continue to build on what we have done, you know, so far, and really have time to build physically in ways that are more difficult this season.
Do you have any plans yet on working at a specific place in the offseason?
I've done a lot of work with Cressy, and then also we've made a lot of great strides here, and there's no doubt I'll be in constant communication with Bailey and everybody on staff here, and you know, Dan DeLucia and Noah Junis, who were in Worcester, did an awesome job. And those are great guys. Definitely want to, you know, keep going what we have going.
All right, take a look at the Red Sox starting pitching going back to August 27th. It's been really good. It's been amongst the best in baseball. Maybe that is what you hang your hat on more than anything. I do think this season ends, you should feel much better about the starting rotation than you did at the end last year. We're sitting and saying they need a 1, they need a 2. We didn't know what Tanner Houck could do. Tanner Houck wound up being the 1 on this team. Lucas Giolito never threw a pitch. He'll be back next year. This should be a serviceable rotation that you could add to and make a really good rotation.
Absolutely. I think Houck is a legitimate number 2 in the big leagues. I think you still go out and look for that top-end guy, whether it's via trade, because you do have the prospect capital to make those moves in the offseason. Brian Bayo, it kind of just stayed the same, right? He started slow. I thought he got better as the second half went on. His control and his command got much better. And I think Cutter Crawford solidified himself as a back-end starter in the big leagues, going 30-plus starts, showing that these guys have a new baseline of innings. So definite things to look forward to, definite strides forward for these guys. And also not just the 5 starters, I think the depth with the Chris Wells, the Fitz, the Priesters, these guys, which depth obviously plays a big key in a season for starting pitching.
Yeah, expectations going into the season were not very high for any of these starting pitchers. I think each individual pitcher showed us a little something different, right? We'll start with Crawford, right? Crawford was able to post. He does have things to work on, keeping the ball in the ballpark, limiting the walks. That's just basically location. Specifically, you got to go out and locate in certain counts. How? No issue getting through the third time around the lineup, right? He did hit a little bit of a slump mid-season, but came back from that, and he was walking guys at the end of the season. I know he'd be the first person to tell you late in the season he's walking too many guys, so he needs to dial that back in. I'm not sure if it's because he was getting tired or what.
It would make sense,
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely, because again, the baseline was, it rose. Like you said, not a lot of these pitchers threw that many innings, had that many outings in the big leagues at this point. So there's a lot of things, positive notes that they can build on going into next season, and we don't have to talk about, oh, they haven't pitched this much last season. Listen, they did it this year, and they can build on it.
They gave Bayo the money. He was the opening day starter. Was this a step forward, a step backwards, or a lateral step?
Statistic-wise, it was a step backwards. I feel like his stuff is good enough to show a lot better statistic on page. Mentally, towards the end of the season, I did notice something in his mannerisms. When things start to go wrong earlier in the season, you could see his mannerisms, his facial expressions, he starts to lose it a little bit. And once you lose it a little bit, it's a slippery slope. You can lose the game right then and there. And I noticed later on this season, he was taking that deep breath. He was getting back on the mound, composing himself, and hitting the reset button. And he wasn't letting games kind of slip away like he was doing previously.
Yeah, I'm with you. You beat me to it. I thought in the first half, you're going, oh, no, what is going on? The command, you're 2-0 on every guy. Made some adjustments. I love seeing in-season adjustments, especially from young players who get paid, right? Because it's easy to just get lackadaisical and be like, I made it. I'm making my money. You could see him working. You could watch his bullpens out here, which you guys don't see on TV, and him putting the consistent work in with the pitching coaches and that team around him with that new infrastructure that came in with Brezel and Bailey. So he's putting the work in, and mentally was the biggest step forward, obviously. Just the way he carried himself and things not snowballing on him help the overall numbers.
The thing he's going to have to watch is the walks. He was his own worst enemy with that. 3.55 walks per 9 is the 5th highest in all of Major League Baseball. Can't be doing that.
Yeah, and I think that just starts from pitch number 1. You have to have a philosophy, strike 1. Get ahead, stay ahead. If you do go 1-1, the most important count other than strike 1 is converting 1-1 counts into 1-2. Batting averages drop when you go 1-2. If you're 2-1, they skyrocket. You're putting yourself in a situation then 1-2 where they're going to swing outside the strike zone, and then he can just let his movement do the work at that point.
Exactly, because there's no question about his stuff. You look at purely the stuff, it's some of the best in baseball. You see him up to 99 with throwing sideways sinkers up there. If you can somehow just hone that in, right? And you saw him take a step off the gas a little bit, and the velocity being 95 to 96, and the command was much better. And your same movement, and he should pitch there, chase ground balls. When he chases strikeouts, he falls into some trouble.
All right, tonight at 7:30, we take a look back at the 3-home run game for Tristan Casas, plays of the year and more. Ultimate Red Sox Show is presented by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Red Sox win the final game of the season. We are wrapping it all up right here at Fenway Park in Boston. It's only been 40 minutes or so, and it's still already weird that Joe Castiglione is no longer the radio voice of the Red Sox. We're going to look back at an emotional day for him and for us as we continue.
Whose calls still ring in our ears to this day, Joe Castiglione. And we announce that by proclamation of the City of Boston, today, September 29th, 2024, has been named in his honor.
Can you believe it? This is overwhelming. God has granted me so many blessings, the privilege of calling so many great moments in Red Sox history. Morgan Magic in '88, and especially those 4 World Championships in 15 years, the greatest era in Red Sox history. I'm so honored that you guys went many miles to make the effort to come out here today, and I will forever cherish your friendship. I've been so blessed to call Fenway Park my office and my home for 42 seasons. And I'm thankful to you, the great fans, Red Sox Nation, for your trust and support, and for inviting me into your homes, cars, and headsets. I will miss being your eyes and ears, But 42 years, all I can say is, can you believe it? Thank you very much.
Catching Joe's pitch will be Jackie Bradley Jr.
You know, I chose Jackie because Jackie catches everything.
Okay, Joe, how about a pitch? Thank you, and we wish you the best of luck in your retirement.
Just a beautiful pregame ceremony for a beautiful man. The radio voice of the Red Sox since 1983. 42 years in the booth. No Red Sox broadcaster has done it that long or that well. 4 championships, as you know. Member of the Red Sox Hall of Fame since 2014, and 10 years after that, presented the Ford C. Frick Award for Broadcasting Excellence by the Baseball Hall of Fame. Joe Castiglione honored today in his final game as the radio voice of the Red Sox. We are back here in our Wasabi Fenway studios with Red Sox final. Again, I mean, it's the soundtrack of summer. You know, I grew up listening to Joe Castiglione. I'm really old, but I grew up listening to him in Maine. You know, you had him on the radio. You had him at the lake. You had him at the beach. You had him in the car. He was the voice of your summer.
He's as Red Sox as any player that put on the uniform.
100%.
Honestly.
More than most.
Yes.
More than most.
Yes. Generations were introduced to the Red Sox and counted on him describing the game just like he could day in and day out for decades.
It's not just Red Sox baseball, right? You just hear his voice, and you just think of baseball in general. You think of summer. You think of family time at the ballpark. It's just his voice brings out so many good memories for so many people, and we're lucky that we got to spend a lot of time with him.
And you didn't even have to hear the words. Hearing the voice told you if it was a home run or nothing better than, I mean, it was never better because it was always bad, but him calling a pop-out to end the inning was, there's a pop-up, and you were like, because his voice nailed it.
And you remember the Benintendi catch in Houston. He falls out of his chair making the call because he gets so excited. You hear him hit the floor and start laughing in the middle of the biggest play of the season. It was amazing.
It's pure joy. It's pure passion.
He suffered and he excelled with Red Sox fans for years and years and years, right? I mean, he was in there. Alex Cora, when he was in the pregame show, he says, listen, when the Red Sox lost 3 games in a row, this interview was going to be different. I knew it. The tone in his voice was different.
He was angry.
He was angry, yeah.
He was not happy. What are you guys doing? You're ruining my summer. Electric Player, presented by Granite City Electric Supply, celebrating 100 years of service to our customers and communities throughout New England. A beautiful tribute on the scoreboard here after the 7th inning, as we got to hear some of his great calls and got to see some moments over the years. None bigger than the ball coming back to Folk and the words, "Can you believe it?" becoming part of our regional lexicon. Joe Castiglione, the voice of the Boston Red Sox, calling his final game today here to end the 2024 season. His voice called 4 World Series championships after an 86-year drought, and no one loved this sport or this team more than the man who called his final game today. Congratulations to Joe Castiglione from all of us who got the honor of getting to know him and getting to work alongside with him, and a beautiful tribute from the team today as they tipped their caps and cheered for him from the field. And just moments ago, Joe spoke to the media about his career.
One and only experience here, and although Roger Clemens was on the air with us, said he unretired 3 times, so you never know. But
Joe, what was the 9th inning like for you?
It was. So I was sort of numb. Sort of felt like the 9th inning in St. Louis in 04, like in a zone and no distractions. And then he kept fouling off pitch after pitch when we were hoping it would end. But yeah, nostalgia, I think, sadness, but. And watching my broadcast partners get emotional. Will and Sean, who are great friends, and it still really hasn't set in. Probably won't till next spring.
Was it hard to maintain your composure at the end?
A little bit, but I think more numb than anything. You know, it's not used to being the focus. We're the reporters and not the subject, but Yeah, I did keep it together for the most part, but I had some moments, especially when Alex brought the players out in the 7th inning, and when I saw these players come back, so many from long distances, dating back to my first Red Sox team in 1983, right up until I guess Jackie was, and Rich Hill was the most recent this season, so that was really special.
Joe, what was the part of the day which hit you maybe the most, that maybe you didn't expect?
Well, the players coming out in the 7th inning, that would be up there. I knew who the guests were going to be because they were published, and you guys knew as well. But watching them come out, I think, was very emotional. And I didn't know that they were going to do it by, 86 pennant, and then 04 and 13 and 18, and that was a great touch.
Special ceremony for a special guy. You heard the news on Masataka Yoshida. We will hear from him as we continue after this. Offense dropping off from the first half to the second half. The biggest difference is the extra base hits. Strikeout percentage stayed high really throughout the season. You heard Alex Cora talk about Masataka Yoshida and the fact that he will have an MRI on his shoulder. Let's hear what he had to say about it just moments ago.
近々検査もして最善を尽くすと思います。
Yeah, I'll get a physical, sooner or later, and try to come up with the best solution.
How long it affected you? Yeah, how much do you think it affected you this season at all?
その方のことっていうのはどれだけ打撃面で影響していたでしょうかと。
全部ではないですけども、多少なりミススイングした時などはありましたけど、ただ自分で出れると思ってやってましたし、そこら辺は大丈夫だと思います。
Yeah, when I had swing and misses, I felt it a little bit, but I felt like I could keep swinging and playing, so that's why I kept playing.
When it happened, or if it was on a certain play or a certain swing?
いつ頃からなったっていうのは覚えてますか？なんか一つのプレーでなってしまったとか。
一つではないですね。積み重ねで。
It was not like a one certain play. It was just kind of over time.
How do you kind of describe the year that you had, Masa, year 2 in the big leagues?
1年終わって2年目振り返ってご自身いかがでしたか？
やっぱり全ての面で数字に関しても、満足いくシーズンではなかったので、3年目、今年のことはしっかり反省して、来年またいいシーズンを送れるようにこのオフシーズン大事になってくると思うので、しっかり準備したいと思います。
I mean, overall, as far as the number goes, I'm not fully satisfied. I didn't get the result that I was hoping to get. So going into the off season, I'll try to do everything I can do to, get myself ready for the next season.
Just to be clear, it was the right shoulder.
ちょっと一つ確認させていただきたいのが、それは右肩でしょうかと。右肩。
How would you describe that, the impact of that on your? Is that mostly the ability to drive the ball and finish, or is that, how would you describe it?
怪我はスイングにどのような影響をしてますか？強く振るとかフォローするで痛かったとか。
ミススイングの時には多少なり。
Mostly I felt it in swing and misses.
All right, Red Sox have wrapped up the 2024 season. Still to come, a look back at the plays of the year. Day, Nick Sogard 1 for 4. He struck out once as well. Red Sox wrap up the season at 500. We wrap up with our plays of the year.
Tyler O'Neill has just set a record by homering in 5 consecutive opening days. Dahlbeck will score 7 RBIs for Cedar Rafaela. And what a performance tonight by Tanner Houck. A complete game. The first by a Red Sox pitcher since May 28, 2022. Incredible. Rafi Devers has done it. He has set a new Red Sox record by homering in 6 consecutive games. Goes Devers from first. Another throw down. Now Durant breaks for home. Here's the throw to the plate. He dives and he's safe. He beat it. He got out of the tag. Durant backing up on the track at the wall, leaping up. He caught it. He caught the ball. pitch, high fly ball center field. Grisham's racing back, still backing up all the way to the wall. He can't get it, and that ball gets out of here. The Red Sox strike again and take a 5-3 lead. And a high fly ball that's well hit to right. Back it goes, and it is gone. Raffy strikes again against Cole. And he strikes out another one. It's been amazing for Nick Pivetta tonight. This is the second time this season that he has struck out 8 in a row.
2-1. On a line to right center field, a base hit with his first major league knock. Off the umpire. Smith takes off for the play. Dives. Out. Alex Cora wants a look at this.
The call on the field is overturned.
Save for the Red Sox lead. What?
And she's gone. Number 200 for Raffy Devers. And so we pick it up as a suspended game for game number 1. And now Danny Jansen, a month later, traded to the Boston Red Sox. And here he is behind the plate in a Red Sox uniform and ready to catch the rest of what was his at-bat. Raffy Devers will be intentionally passed here.
No, that went from a no-hitter to a 7th spot by the Red Sox, all predicated on a 1-out intentional walk.
And it came down to the final game of the season. The Red Sox win that game to get to 500. Joe Castiglione calls his final game as the voice of the Red Sox. We will hear from him one last time as we continue. As we wrap up the season, first of all, I'll say always a pleasure to work with you guys. You are the best. We have such an amazing group of analysts here on NESN. We are so lucky. Watch games around the country, folks. You do not get this type of talent and regional networks everywhere. Always an honor to work with you guys. Thanks for another great season.
Well, thank you very much. This is my 8th season, and it keeps getting better and better.
Is it really?
It is.
Oh,
it is.
God.
Yeah.
You were 12 when you started?
I was 12 years old. Yeah. I was an intern.
He didn't purposely put gray in his hair. He's putting in the time. Here we go. He's putting in the time. No. This is always a blast. I look forward to coming to work every time I show up in Boston. So looking forward to next year, boys.
Yeah, as we all are, because hopefully next year will be better. Alex Cora says we're done struggling. And by what struggling means, when he was asked to define that day, he means not making the playoffs. He says next year we're back. Let's hope that's the case.